Get me out of love, yeah, call me when you want. Just shut on my door, yeah, nowhere left to go. I just need to stay alone, yeah, need to stay alone. I've been on my own, yeah, I've been on my own. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. I don't know, you got me out of control. I need to let it go, yeah, let it go, yeah, let it go. Tell me how to love, now you got my heart all locked down. I just wanna feel your body. My heart is a ghost town, I don't need no love now. That's cause I don't need nobody. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up. Whenever you're gone, I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. I don't need to show up, waiting for the right time, baby, you don't know. I'm trying to space now. You got me feeling this now.
Seems to circle the other. As you go, you remain a stranger to me, to you. But our pieces left uncovered. I'm thinking about four-leaf clovers. I've got composure, silver coin. You hold me, turn me over. I never expect to forget about it. Watches the breeze, burns golden smoke that you've stolen. Feels like it's my fortune that you're folding. I'm swimming with the sharks. I'm swimming with the sharks. I can't tell you apart from them. You can't tell either. Will we love or fall in deeper? Tell me, darling, what is it you want? How the mind doesn't work like it used to. As I know I remain a danger to me, to you. Growing altered by the moment, dear. And as the days turn idle, sweet on survival. I'm on fire, waiting your arrival. I never expect to be saved without it. All you could ask for never made its way into your eyes. Cold in the water, cold unless you're keeping a disguise. I'm swimming with the sharks. I'm swimming with the sharks. It's out of my control. You set the play in motion. Couldn't be a bigger ocean. Tell me, darling, is this what you want? Oh, and all
outside, yeah, so I don't think about life, yeah. Can you tell me a lie? 'Cause I can't take it, I can't take it. You got me feeling alright, yeah. Every day by your side, yeah. Can you tell me a lie? 'Cause I can't take it, I can't take it. I don't wanna think about it every day. You know that you kinda wanna feel the same way. So much time, you just had to pretend. I've been so lost, I just wanna run away. Run away, run away right now. I gotta go, I'm wasting my attention. You've been on my mind, I could touch the sky. Starlights, I'll be running up and down, trying to think about you all the time. I don't really need to apologize. I know that you like it. I'll be staying outside, yeah, so I don't think about life, yeah. Can you tell me a lie? 'Cause I can't take it, I can't take it. You got me feeling alright, yeah. Every day by your side, yeah. Can you tell me a lie? 'Cause I can't take it, I can't take it. Talking to me with your eyes, I get a hint of the perfume that I like. Wear it like a disguise, I come around with the perfect alibi. Midnight, pouring my heart out like it's water. Tick-tock, you know this night ain't getting younger. Feels like chasing a star up and down in the sky. I can't get enough of sweet, sweet loving like we're just a couple bees, please. I'm glued to you, honey, like leave me, and I'll be sticking to you. I'm glued to you, honey. I'm glued to you, honey. Hey. I'm walking around with a smile. You got me feeling like curfew after 9. Yeah, you're tearing it up with the style. You got me living a brand new kind of life. At midnight, pouring my heart out like it's water. Tick-tock, you know this night ain't getting younger. Feels like chasing a star up and down in the sky. I can't get enough of sweet, sweet loving like we're just a couple bees, please. I'm glued to you, honey, like leave me, and I'll be sticking to you. I'm glued to you, honey. I'm glued to you, honey. Hey. Ooh, I'm glued to you, honey, like I'm glued to you, honey, like. Oh, don't forget I love that honey taste. Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling like a double dipping day. Oh, it's a double dipping day. I can't get enough of sweet, sweet loving like we're just a couple bees, please. I'm glued to you, honey, like leave me, and I'll be sticking to you. I'm glued to you, honey. I'm glued to you, honey. Hey. Ooh, I'm glued to you, honey, like I'm glued to you, honey, like.
All the barricades, I wanna know why they hold me back. Need a miracle to break me through, but I won't get that. If I was a real wonder, then I could save me from turning around. Lift me off the ground, and one day I'm free. Yeah, I wanna be a real wonder. Heaven lift me up from under. Wishing I could be somehow stronger now, so I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me. Wishing I could be stronger, so I can be a real wonder.
If you wanna be a wonder, baby, come and show it. Tell me what you feel in your heart and your soul. There's nothing I would take for granted. With me, we'll make it through. Takes two hearts to fix heartbreak. We grew apart, I made a mistake, but I'll try to make it up to you, my darling. Ooh.
I wanna be a real wonder. Heaven lifts me up from under. Wishing I could be somehow stronger now,
So I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me. Wish that I could be stronger, so I can be a real wonder. So I can fight away all the pain inside me. Never be afraid of the fate that finds me. Wish that I could be stronger, so I can be a real wonder. Talking to me with your eyes, I get a hint of the perfume that I like. Wear it like a disguise. I come around with the perfect alibi. Midnight, pouring my heart out like it's water. Tick-tock, you know this night ain't getting younger. Feels running like. I'm walking around with a smile. You got me feeling like curfew.
An event literally months in the making. A season that started with 40 competitors is now down to our final 3. Welcome to the second semifinal of BLITZ RIOT. I'm Nomical, joined by Alios, and we've got what should be a fantastic series between two up-and-coming teams looking to prove themselves in the T4 and T3 scene. Ali, how are we feeling knowing that the winner of this team will face Team Brick this Sunday in the grand finals? We've got F5 and Lycus Empire on deck.
I mean, honestly, this is one that I think a lot of people probably would have looked at and said that it could have been a grand final in its own right. Just given kind of the stories of both of these teams, Lycus being obviously on a fairly big org, and then F5 recently attending the Denver LAN, and if I recall, not doing too poorly there. So there is a lot going for them, and actually I think they played a couple games from the Denver LAN facility, if I recall as well. So having quite a lot going for them in that sense, although unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for Team Brick fans, only one of them could be in the grand final, and I think that should be interesting in of itself.
Yeah, I want to talk about Team Brick for just a second before we get too deep into this game. They kind of shocked a lot of people. They took out the #1 seeded Outlast Black roster, which in my personal opinion, I thought they were a surefire right-in to win the whole thing. They had a flawless group stage. They looked fantastic. And Team Brick knocked them off, made it look easy. So they are looking very formidable and a very scary opponent for whoever wins this series.
So we'll see if the sort of semifinal curse repeats itself. That being said, probably should pull up the rosters for at least a little bit just to get a more in-depth look at them. And I believe both of these teams have subs as well. So for F5, Xscape is subbing in for Checky, I believe it was. So I'm going to have a little bit of tomfoolery in that department, as that does always kind of bring a little bit of an unusual aspect to the team chemistry, as no two players play exactly alike, even if they play on the same role. And I looked into F5 a little bit as well before the broadcast started, and they've had a lot of default wins recently, which just means they didn't play the match. And, however, the games that they have been playing have all been like 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, so they have been looking really, really good going into this. And then if we bring up Lycus for a little bit, they also have a sub. They have, I believe it was Trevmac for Roxo. So, again, even if they're on the same role, no two players play exactly alike. I know off the top of my head, Trevmac tends to be very shot call heavy, and if that's what Roxo did great. If not, it could be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I think both of these rosters are very formidable. F5 has been on the up and up, and then, of course, Lycus Empire has had some very solid results recently. They actually played back in Blitz Season 2, the core of this roster did, and they made a run all the way to the quarterfinals. Trevmac is currently playing, I believe, with Turtle Tactics, the Knicks roster,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's a very formidable player in his own right. And I think both subs are going to do very well in this series, and I'm very excited to see them go head-to-head. But we've got some map bans ready for you. Of course, playoffs for BLITZ RIOT are best of 3, so we've got at least 2 maps on deck for you this evening to determine who will go to the best of 5 grand final. We're going to start things off on Border, which is F5's pick, transition over to Nighthaven Labs, the pick by Lycus Empire, and if we need it, Chalet will be our decider. And Ali, I think these first 2 maps are quite fascinating. You've got completely opposite play styles being picked into by both of these teams.
Oh, absolutely. Border is very fast, it's very aggressive, it's a very small map, and it's very easy for the attack to get a foothold, and then work that foothold into a very, very concrete plant. Whereas Nighthaven, it's a lot more default. I think it's very analogous to Club in a lot of ways, and it's a lot easier for the defenders. And so the teams are going to have to switch pace a little bit going between these maps. Right? As like I just kind of said, with Border, you're going to be playing very, very fast, but I'm going to expect to see a lot of rushes, even not for rushes, a lot of plays that are just very fast going into the site. Whereas when we go to Nighthaven, things have to be more methodical, more step-by-step, and much more planned out. Although that's in the future, whereas Border is in the now, so we can get into that. after this lovely flyover is done, and then get into the operator bans, where obviously you kind of expect to see things like a Blackbeard. I'd expect like a Valkyrie and a Mira as well. Although things like Blitz and Monty are not at all uncommon either.
You forgot about our favorite defensive operator, Ali, Azami. Azami is by far the most banned defender right now. Everybody hates Azami. And we are ready for the game. We'll see if Azami is banned here in just a minute or so. But like you were saying, I would definitely expect some shield bans to come out here. Probably the Blackbeard. Although you could see maybe a hard breach ban, maybe like an ace or something along those lines. Maybe some soft destruction. I've seen Grim banned a couple times. There's a lot of flexibility on board here. So I'm very interested to see how we start things off. We're gonna get a Ying ban first off. I actually do not mind that at all. Ying is still a very powerful operator, and a lot of teams do not like having to deal with her flash capabilities. So I think that makes a lot of sense coming out by F5.
I mean, this map is already, as I've said a couple times, very, very friendly to the attackers, and Ying just makes that a lot easier, as does Deimos. The Deimos also, kind of unusual, because, again, I was expecting a Blackbeard ban, since he's just kind of always banned, but Deimos is very good, not only for roam clearing, but also just for causing havoc with vertical play, which pretty much all these sites are susceptible to. And then Azami, which I believe you predicted, Namical, who is just very good at locking down power positions. Even on this map where they're not as strong typically, Azami is still very formidable. Places like CC come to mind. And then that Mira as well, again, kind of the same vein as that Azami. She can take positions that normally are very hard to get into and make them significantly easier to defend.
Alrighty, bans done with. We're going to start things off on Armory and Archives, which is pretty standard, you know, nothing too shocking there. A lot of teams start on the top floor, although I have seen sometimes teams that do prefer to start over at Tellers and Archives. It's just more of a preference thing, if I'm pretty sure.
Attackers need to locate.
Although I do believe we have an issue with the settings. It looks like we might have accidentally loaded into a 3-3 lobby. So our semifinal matchup will have to wait just a moment here as we go back and fix that, alley. But I still think it's very interesting to see here. We are getting our first look at the round 1 operator lineup. You see a bandit being brought out along with the Melusi, a couple of operators that you don't see a ton. Melusi is still pretty popular, but you know, it's more of like a niche operator. You don't get to see it all the time. There's operators that would rather be brought by a lot of different teams. And I think the bandit as well is very interesting, especially on border, considering, like you were saying, it is such a small map and it's pretty easy to flush defenders out of their positions. I'm very curious to see what they do to enable that bandit to have success.
I mean, I don't really mind the bandit, to be honest. I'd imagine that they're probably just going to set and forget the utility. And then you have the MP7, which is a really good gun. You have a C4, and your 3-speed, which means that you can walk around, which I'd argue kind of grows more powerful on a map like Border that is significantly smaller. So the bandit's probably more of just like, let's give one of our players an op that he's comfortable with so we can kill people, which I think on Border is sometimes the way to go. And I believe it was Melusi as well you were talking about, unless I was not paying attention, which is always possible.
No, it was Melusi. Yeah, I was talking about Melusi.
She has that destruction of the secondary shoddy, unless they removed that, which I don't think they did. Along with the ability to just slow the attackers down and feed you some information. If you walk into one of her, I like to call them wub-wubs, but they're called banshees, then you make a very loud sound cue and you're slowed down. And to get rid of it and continue walking forward, you have to look away from where the defense is, which means they have a pretty solid gunfight on their hands.
Well, I believe we've got a little bit of time before we actually get back into the lobbies. So it sounds like you and I are going to go to a short break while we get the settings fixed and get everybody back in. But don't go anywhere. We're just getting started here in the BLITZ RIOT semifinals. So we'll be back in just a minute with F5 versus Lycus Empire.
fool, I don't even care. I want you to listen to what I say. I love you, but it's so confusing. I'm winning at the same time losing. I love you, but it's so confusing. I'm winning at the same time losing. I'm not ready for being loved. I need more time, a little more. I'm not ready for being loved. I'm walking home, I'm walking home. I've never been desperate to find someone who loves me. Yeah, I've never been that way. I have never been, I have never been. I'm finding a way, I can even feel well, but I want you by my side of my all day. I know I'm a fool, I don't even care. I want you to listen to what I say. I love you, but it's so confusing. I'm winning at the same time losing. I love you, but it's so confusing. I'm winning at the same time losing. I'm not ready for being loved. I need more time, a little more. I'm not ready for being loved. I'm walking home, I'm walking home. I've never been desperate to find someone who loves me. Yeah, I've never been that way. I have never been, I have never been, I have never been.
All right, tomfoolery out of the way now. Settings are correct. We can finally get underway with our semifinal of Blitz Riot. For those of you just joining us, I'm Nomical, joined by Alios, and we are in map number 1 between F5 Esports and Lycus Empire. We're starting things off on the top floor, and before we went to the break, we were talking about the bandit, but you know what? The bandit has decided to go on vacation, so we've got a Valkyrie instead. I honestly think I prefer the Valkyrie.
I mean, I would have expected Valkyrie to be banned, to be honest.
I would too.
I mean, there are lots of good bans for this map on the defense. I wouldn't really say that any of them are incorrect. But Valkyrie in specific is just kind of a headache if you're playing against people who can aim and know where to put the cameras, which I would wager that still fits both of those categories. That being said, however, I do also want to draw attention to the fact that we have a Blackbeard who normally is banned, and that's a very good reason because he is really scary when it comes to taking map control, which is already pretty simple on this map, and just making people really uncomfortable to sit in the spots they're occupying, as well. So maybe it's going to be so uncomfortable that he's sent into the grave, although there's potentially a refrag.
Yeah, Scarping has been down, so at least some sort of a kill there back for F5 Esports. I do need to find the confirm on that, and Geek actually looks like he has the position to maybe go for the revive. He's going to send out some of the Grim Bees and maybe force, I believe that is Escape out of his position, at least put a little pressure on him and make him a little bit more scared of walking in. But the Blackbeard just walks right in. TrevMac flicks onto 2 big kills, and now it's a 5v2, making a 1v5 as TrevMac gets it, and Space cleans things up. Lycus Empire storm through the top floor in round number 1. The Blackbeard goes big, and they might already be regretting not banning that operator.
There was a lot of very, very good both awareness and pressure from Lycus Empire that round. We saw people in several different locations, primarily looking like it was going to be kind of like a top east sort of office archives affair. But then TrevMac reads into the fact that, well, not only are they not expecting the angle that he's coming from, because he walked in from Armory, or maybe jumped in through the window actually, which is not where F5 were looking, but he's playing the Blackbeard, so even when they turn around to look at him, I mean, he's got a shield in his face and an assault rifle with effectively no recoil. And then on top of that, Space is ready to work off the space that TrevMac has created in order to control that site and keep anyone from F5 from actually getting back inside of it without taking several gunfights at once.
Crazy first round there. I'm very excited to see if that trend continues, because if it does, I think we're in for a great semifinal matchup here, Allie. We're going to be back on the top floor once again. A couple of changes coming out here. Z-Man switching over onto the Frost, and I actually don't mind that. You can maybe catch the Blackbeard. Well, I guess there's no Blackbeard this time, but you can maybe catch operators off guard playing on that Frost. They're, you know, being a little bit too overzealous. We do have a Callie this time being brought out by Shrady, which is another really interesting operator to bring out here. Not one that you see a whole bunch. Spawn peek as well. TrevMac reads into it already, picks up his 4th kill, and the bullets to let him know. Shooting bodies. He knows who's better in this situation, and we're just going again. Lycus Empire already storming into the site. Here's the coverage by Scarpig, but a C4 well timed by Stealth blows Geek into an early grave, and we get a quick refract back here as well by TrevMac, still going huge, 5-0 through 2 rounds. What a crazy start to round number 2, and there's still 2 minutes to go. Stealth picks up a second one here as things start to calm down a little bit. Back down to a 3v3, and actually F5, despite the early rush by Lycus Empire, find themselves in an okay spot, even with the health advantage.
Very fast play earlier on, but very good rebuff from F5. As Lycus Empire get a little bit overzealous, which has left TrevMac and Scarping both worse for wear, but Space has a solid position at the bottom of metal stairs, which has left the site very vulnerable.
Well, F5 seemed to be in an okay spot, but now it's all left up to Stealth in a 1v2 with the quad kill, turns onto the planter, but TrevMac still holding down border as his own little playground continues his reign of terror through the first 2 rounds, clutches the 1v1, and gives Lycus their second of 2 rounds.
So we're seeing Lycus Empire try to fully take advantage of how small the map is and how much direct access there is to the sites, and just run in. Try to get those early fights, especially since they've gotten 2 uncontested opening picks this game. But they were a little bit overzealous. They weren't as careful as they needed to be that last game, and so that allowed for F5 to get some picks back. We saw the C4 onto the planter, as well as another one that fell around the site. And that gives F5 a way back into the round, and Lycus Empire are able to slow it down enough that they can bring things back into their favor and clutch it out in the end. But we are seeing the speed be a very double-edged sword here, both working for and against them, depending on how it's utilized at any specific moments.
10 seconds to
I mean, I know I've already said it a whole bunch, Allie, but can we just take a moment to appreciate the skill that TrevMac's been displaying through these first couple of rounds?
Oh yeah.
Just flicking around in the middle of the site on the Blackbeard in round number 1, and then the last round staying cool, calm, and collected, covering the plant, winning the 1v1 through the smoke of all things. Absolutely beautiful stuff, and it's no surprise, and I guess it does it full justice as to how he has been faring on the Turtle Tactics team. We'll see if he can continue that trend as he's back on the Blackbeard here, and once again, Lycus Empire are looking to go fast. They're already setting themselves up near the site. They've got Space looking to open up different angles to potentially work off of inside a bathroom. Scarping as well, outside, looking to drone in. don't believe there's anybody up here contesting. The only players on the top floor are currently in Fountain and Security, so these players here on this side of the map are not going to have a lot standing in their way, at least on the initial push-in. Geek is actually looking to get in aggressively as well. He's going to start to cut off some different lines of sight using the new operator. I love this play by Lycus Empire, and they're going to go quickly once again. Look at this play here on the Blackbeard. TrevMac just spearheading the charge in every single round. Space actually is the one who gets the opener, but TrevMac spotted the gap. He's walked right in, dealt with finally by Fountain, but it's down to a 1v3. Once again, Stealth left all alone here with the diffuser down. This seems like a nightmare situation for him to work with. Spots the line and is able to shut down Shrady. There's still a lot more work to be done here with only 30 seconds left. C4 goes down. He's got intel. Did he get off? No, he did not. Scarping a nice little bit of utility and awareness. Shuts him down and gets the Nitro cell for good measure. Round number 3 for Lycus Empire.
So there, I mean, it's been a lot of the same, right? But you see, I think, more intentionality with the aggression in that previous round, as they didn't just run in immediately like they had previously. There was a discovery phase to that round. We see people kind of poking, opening things up, just seeing where are the defenders, where are the holes, and then they use that Raura to block off the line of sight from Blue Hall, and then they send TrevMac in off of a gap they know they have. And the Blackbeard being in sight just creates a ton of mayhem, which F5 have to address that. They can't just let that go completely unanswered. And then as they're trying to relocate to kill off the Blackbeard, TrevMac's teammates are working those picks off of that extra chaos. And even though TrevMac does die, by that point it was like a 3 versus 3, and they have players in position to take advantage of everyone focusing on the Blackbeard by lurking upstairs. And then you get a 3v1 with the plant down. All Scarping has to do is be patient to that 1v1, and then Stealth falls.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
I mean, this is just a masterclass up to this point by Lycus Empire. 3 rounds in, absolutely flawless. TrevMac's been putting on a show, and really the only player on F5 that's been putting up a fight has been Stealth. You really need to see some more impact from these other players. The sub Escape 0-3 right now. Smithy 0-3. It's just not been great by them. They keep getting found out quickly on these opening engagements, and then they fall victim to the quick rush. Well, Ali, I think we might have ourselves another one, as look at this lineup. You've got Grim, Glaz, Osa, and Amaru. I think we might have ourselves a little fountain push here.
Alright, so Thatcher, absolutely beautiful for rushes. One thing, especially for an Archives rush, that is very, very common for the defenders to do counter it is throw C4s. And if you throw Thatchers on the ground, if you time them right, the C4s aren't going to go off, which allows you to safely plant. And the C4s are something we've seen F5 use in the past, which is showing not only active rush potential, but active adaptation. But Stealth is going to make that more difficult by killing off that Thatcher, which means the C4s are much more of a threat again.
Yeah, that's a great kill there by Stealth. Been the main impact player thus far for F5 Esports. He's going to need to continue to have a big game if he's going to keep his team in this match. Geek's going to continue to go to work here, put down some claymores, and well, the show must go on if you're Lycus Empire. You don't have space, you don't have that Thatcher, doesn't matter. You cannot become scared. You cannot fall behind. You must continue to press forward, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're doing a great job thus far of continuing to stay on track. They're setting up utility. You've got TrevMac and Shrady down below, potentially ready for a push. And everybody is just playing very coordinated right now. They're all setting up. They're all waiting for each other to make sure they're in the proper positions, and I love this play.
Gonna plant on an Osa shield, or at least attempt to, as Shrady goes in and sets things up. TrevMac as well. Flurry of kills going both directions. We find ourselves in a 3v3.
Yeah, Scarping's looking to get this plant down here on the Osa. He doesn't quite have the coverage he needs, and Escape kills his coverage. Shrady now dead. Nice refrag there by Geek, however, and we stay even, but now it's all left up to Geek as Stealth continues to go big here, picks up his 7th kill. Now, the Grim has to hang on here on this AC window. spots the head of one, eats some damage, has to fall back here, but the time is now working in his favor. Less than 20 seconds to go, but the Legion has been allowed to cross. Oh no, Geek falls down. That might just be the opportunity that they need. Stealth has the coverage, and F5 get the disable. Beautifully played retake there, and finally F5 are on the board.
So now we're seeing F5 start to give it back a little bit. I suspect that part of the timeout was probably commenting on the fact that in every round, Lycus were the ones doing stuff and making things happen, which is very typical for Border. But if you're on the defense and you don't want to bleed rounds, like F5 have been, then you can't let the attackers control that pace. And so we see the Goyo is brought to prevent the rushes, and then they're the ones jumping out of windows in that round to get the opening pick, which they had tried previously, although this time it was actually successful. And it was a very pivotal operator, so pivotal even that it spent several seconds hyping him up before he was killed off in that opening engagement. And then that forces Lycus to rethink their entire plan on the fly, which they almost do successfully. But when that diffuser is getting put on the ground and Lycus is in an effective 2 versus 3, that's when F5 strikes so they can take advantage of that man advantage.
Try to say that 5 times fast. Man advantage. All right, fine. I won't make you. I can't. I legally cannot force you.
I already stutter enough on broadcast. I don't need to force myself.
That's fine. I don't need HR getting mad at me. I'm pretty sure Yali would take your side.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, round number 5 here. F5 finally got their first round on defense. And while we were talking about the fact that Border is obviously a relatively attacker-sided map, on the defense you still need to pick up some rounds, but that's not a great start. TrevMech on the Blackbeard once again rushes on in, picks up 2 big kills, maybe a third here as the grenades are swinging on out. Doesn't connect, however, and one of the players is going to be allowed to fall on back. Another one dead, however, as Shrady has the coverage of Stealth on the retake up above, and just like that, barely even a minute in, and it's a 2v5. Schmiffy and Bubbler left all alone here. 2 toxic baits burned on top of that. This seems like a nightmare scenario for F5.
I mean, normally you see Blackbeard banned, and this is kind of the reason, although I suspect that it's more to do with the way that F5 are positioning themselves and the consistent holes that have been left up for Lycus somebody to take advantage of, is now they're going into action, getting that plant down, while trying to pressure these defenders out as well, but 2 of them fall before Schrady's able to find one, and that puts Smithy in a 1 versus 3 that he just cannot win.
Well, it seemed winnable there for a second, but that's kind of the downside of that site down below, the bathroom teller site, is if you get yourself trapped in a corner with all the long lines of sight you open up, you're kind of stuck. You know, you get trapped there in the default spot inside of tellers, and you're kind of just trapped by the bomb chassis. If you try to move, there's so many different angles that can be held from across the map. Those DMRs will rip you to shreds. That's exactly what happened there. But then again, I mean, despite the effort that was made at the end, that round was kind of doomed from the start. When TrevMech just rushed in on the Blackbeard once again and found those 2 big opening kills on the top floor. I mean, what can you do if you're F5? TrevMech is just on a heater. It is the TrevMech show right now.
But I have quite a few issues with the way F5 are positioning themselves. I told you. Because they've left so many places, so many holes, that Lycus have just been walking into and taking gunfights off of. TrevMech should not be able to just walk in and kill 2 people there. And then, as soon as Stealth tries to go for a refrag up metal, he's killed off as well because Lycus have anticipated that refrag attempt. They're the ones making things happen, and they're so aware of what's going on the map, whereas F5 really haven't shown much awareness at all of what Lycus is trying to do.
I mean, in all fairness, I don't think many people know what Lycus is trying to do. And I think that's kind of the point. When you are attacking as fast as they are, you create so much chaos that it's so hard to, you know, sit back and interpret and think about what they're doing. They just keep you on your toes, keep you guessing. And you can't really argue with the results right now. 4 attacking rounds is definitely something that you will take if you're Lycus Empire right now. And they're in a good spot to pick up a 5th here. We're in a site that F5 have not played just yet. And while that can be a good thing, it can also be a massive hindrance because they don't really have, you know, the ability of being warmed up to it yet. This is their only chance. And if they fail, they're finding themselves down 5-1, which would be a disaster of a first map considering they picked it.
Looks like we do have something a little bit more orthodox coming out of Lycus Empire this round. We're seeing a little bit more effort to get in, get control, open up walls, and maybe work a lurk here with that buck if they're able to. As we're seeing a new site for the first time in this half from F5 Esports, although Space is pretty brazenly looking to contest it a little bit if he can at all, while also trying to pressure these defenders out of power positions upstairs.
Did he not see stealth? I swear he saw stealth playing up above. I guess not.
He did, but he just had to run.
I guess not. Anyways, we've got Bubbler lurking here inside of Workshop. This could be a very nice spot. Good trigger discipline, down space. Does he know about the one on his left? I don't think he does. He has some awareness, but he isn't quite able to land the kill. Escape trades him back, however, but he gets down in kind. It's a technical 2 versus 3 right now in favor of F5 as half the server nearly lays dead on the floor. Oh, bad spot there by Stealth as Shrady's able to catch him going for the revive on Escape. And now we find ourselves technically back in a 2v2. Smithy had a ping on a player inside of Customs, but opts for the relocation, does some damage to Scarping. But now Scarping's all alone. Space has been put on the floor still, about to bleed out. Scarping's not in a bad spot right now. He has the diffuser nearby. With only 20 seconds left, he has to be quick. And does he know about any potential Valkyrie cameras? Doesn't seem as though there's any nearby, but now it's back in a 1v3. Player straight ahead, spots the head of that guy. It's a 1v2 now. Escape and Z-Man have to retake here. Do they know that Scarping is attempting to plant the diffuser? It doesn't seem as though they do. He's going to be able to get this off and get gun up again. This could be a huge gap, a huge misplay by F5. Scarping running around, flicking, trying to do what he can. But despite the fact that he made a valiant effort, it's all for naught. F5 salvage the half.
Defenders win.
Great work from F5 there. I think that the switching up of the bomb site did a lot for them that round, as there'd been kind of a precedent established of where F5 were going to go, and therefore what steps were needed for Lycus to get in there. And I think we saw them try to be a little bit more methodical in the way they tried to take things, specifically on that top floor, which I think was motivated by that change in sight, and that just threw a pretty big wrench, or I guess spanner if you're British, into what Lycus had to do, which slowed them down quite a bit. And it also just gave a lot of comfortability for F5 to worm their way into spots that had not been seen before by Lycus, and then take advantage of the ensuing chaos. Like, I think it was Bubbler who was sitting in the corner of Workshop last round, getting the down onto space. Or even Escape sitting inside of the supply room was very good as well. And just all that combines to give F5 a very solid round, but also allow them to actively fight what Lycus is trying to do.
I don't know about you, but one of my favorite parts of doing this casting is just looking at the all chat sometimes and what the people are saying to each other. I find it hilarious. Lycus Empire currently up 4-2 right now, and F5's typing in the chat saying that Lycus Empire need themselves a new org. F5 ACAD coming soon. Yes. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. Mind you, Lycus Empire is currently running out, like, all over the map. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I've seen at least 4 different indicators on the bottom of the screen that have shown a Lycus Empire player running out. Some of it was for setup, like you had Scarping set up a Banshee outside, but I'm not sure. I believe a couple of those runouts were actually somewhat legit on the east side of the map here. And, well, it's doing its job for now, as F5 are playing very scared. Shrady picks up the opener on a Z-Man, and it's been a great first minute for Lycus Empire.
It's been an excellent first minute for Lycus Empire. And they're doing kind of what I talked about F5 needing to do previously, which is, you know, you're on the defense, you're on the disadvantageous side, You need to be the one setting the pace and forcing your opponent to play by your rules. And that is the methodology that we see Lycus Empire trying to use here. And it has thrown F5 for a loop, at least for now. It's especially throwing the kill department for a loop, as they've just gotten Smithy down, which means someone has to revive him. And they're still playing aggressive in these positions that F5 just haven't been able to take control of.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
Yeah, things are getting worse and worse, and what is that? The kill feed lights up and Lycus Empire emerge victorious once again. Jump out and all, it doesn't matter. They just go hunting for those kills. They seem to have a nose for them at this point, as everything they do is going their way. And I have lost my feed. I don't know if you lost yours too,
I
but
think our observer crashed, is what she said.
oh, well, lovely.
Luckily, you can still give a little bit of analysis there, or yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I kind of said it already, but just the pace was set by Lycus. that whole
Yippee!
round. There was not a point in time when F5 were in control of anything. As we saw a lot of runouts, a lot of aggressive peaks, and a lot of just not moving out of the positions that F5 really wanted them to move out of. And that just gives Lycus a lot more room to play with than you would normally expect the defense to have on border. But it also just forces F5 to kind of sit on their hands a little bit, unless they're going to risk running into these really dangerous positions with fewer bodies than they'd want. And it's just, all in all, an amazing play of the border defense.
I think I figured out what happened, Allie.
Yeah?
While you were talking, my phone lit up with a severe thunderstorm warning from my school. So I think what happened is that Lucy lives near me and got hit by lightning. That's exactly what happened. It's the thunderstorms, I'm telling you. Very scary stuff. But speaking of thunderstorms, Lycus Empire
very
definitely bringing the thunder through this matchup, storming around. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's my first cast back. Okay, you got to deal with the bad jokes. I'm sorry that you had to be the one that has to suffer through them.
I made a worse joke than you just now, I think. I don't think you got it.
I did not. I was busy making up my own bad jokes to listen to your bad jokes.
And lightning, very, very frightening.
Okay, that's more of a like a
Banger song.
yeah, something like that. That's more banger song than bad joke.
Listening to that for the first time at like 10 was also what I imagined an acid trip would sound like back then. So
Also, Mr. Producer Man, the score is wrong. It's 5-2. Oh, we're back. And,
Look at that.
Oh, we're midway through the round. Okay, let's get back into the
Shredy's
game,
dead.
shall we, Allie? And so is
Shredy's dead.
Trebmac.
Trebmac is dead. Really not quite what you want if you are Lycus, but it's really what you want if you are F5.
It also helps that Smithy picked up his second kill finally. So, a good start. It's a great round so far for F5, and they're just going to jump right into the bathroom here. I thought for a moment that might have been the site, but it seems as though we're inside of workshop. Oh, Spacer on alert. This could be big. Geek had found a kill just a moment ago, and he's on the flank. Oh, this is absolutely insane.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
Nice shot there by Geek. C4 burn. It's not going to connect on anybody, but he's going to continue to scare.
Now they're trying to surround him, however, which could be quite dangerous, especially since Space doesn't have the HP to properly help him. But he's in a 1 versus 1 now. All he has to do is win the fight against the Blackbeard, and he has control of that diffuser. And he doesn't have fear in his heart. Fully going for that fight, making Z-Man uncomfortable. It's 30 seconds left that he has to do this tango. It looks like he could do it all day. Not a ton of room for the Blackbeard to move around where he can't be heard. To go for the gunfight, he has to put his shield down. Walking slowly at the mute. Must be walking into shotgun territory now. Or even headshot territory. Geek. I believe it was a 3K on that round. Beautiful play from him.
I mean, disgusting flank there, and a disgusting round by Lycus Empire. It was a 4v2 in favor of F5. They had everything going in their favor, but one little mistake, one mute sneaking through the back of your attack turned into a disaster that cost you what could have been a huge turning round. That would have brought them back into the game, and now instead they find themselves on match point on their own map. That could have gone way better. I mean, look at this. You can't let Geek get away with that. Dropping right into the spot where you just took mere seconds beforehand. And I mean, there's nothing really else to say. You just cannot let that happen if you're F5. There has to be a drone or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I said on the previous half that I'll reiterate here. It's just felt like there isn't as much awareness from F5 as there needs to be for what's going on
10 seconds remaining.
On the Lycus side of things and how to react to that.
5 seconds
Which,
to insertion.
for a team like F5, really isn't what you would expect, but
Use a bomb.
I mean, it happens sometimes. Off games happen, and off maps happen. Who knows? This could be their warm-up. Although it is also worth noting that I believe it was F5 that picked this map, which means it is far from ideal that we are sitting in this scenario for them, although I'm sure this round they'll look to bring things back a little bit.
About 30 seconds in here to round number 9. Could be our final round of Border. We promised you a great series, and right now it seems as though we might be liars, as this first map has been all but dominant for Lycus Empire. Good start for F5 though. Z-Man with a quick kill onto space. Nice shot through the wall by Z-Man onto Shrady. A huge double kill for him to start things off. Stealth as well in a good position to cover his teammates. Scarping walks right into the trap. And now it's all left up to TrevMac and Geek. The hero of last round might have to do the exact same thing once again. Does have himself a nice teammate to support him. TrevMac has been on a heater this game. He's cooled off a little bit, but still very much a potent fragger. So this one seems like it might be a little bit harder. F5 look like they've got all of the gaps covered this time. They do not want to throw this round away.
It's got the Russian hollow, man. What's up with that? I mean, that in of itself won't throw the round, but
no.
Stealth running into the site
Surely.
and killed on his
Surely.
own surely might. And that's Escape. A second, a third, throwing themselves a Geek.
Are you
And
kidding
even
me?
a fourth.
No!
It's almost a fourth. Trebmax in a 1 versus 2 make that a 1 versus 1. As he has to kill Smithy.
There's no way this happens again, right, Allie? It was a 5v2 not even 30 seconds ago. Geek with a huge 3K. TrevMac left alone now in the 1v1. And he's got intel as well. The cap can lurking in the corner. Smithy has no idea. Walks right by him. Shoots some shots. This might just be the end for map number 1. TrevMac being so patient here. I love this by him. Smithy has to go get the diffuser with 40 seconds left. This gives TrevMac the perfect opportunity to reposition. Does he know that he's going to be right underneath the hatch? Which hatch will Smithy drop through? This could be the end. Oh, he actually picks a good one here. I love this play. This might have been a map-saving play by Smithy, not jumping right into the site. He knows, or at least has some idea, that TrevMac is relocated inside a bathroom. But does he know where? Grenade goes out, but it's in the wrong spot. At least he knows that that one spot is going to be clear. But TrevMac is continuing to just be patient. Just wait it out. Another 8 seconds is all you need. Smithy, do you know he's here? He does! What a great read by the Gridlock, and map number 1 stays alive for F5 Esports. It was such a nail-biting last 30 seconds or so, but he stays cool, and F5 survive a little bit longer.
Hey, I'm a little bit confused. I won't lie. 5 versus 2 for F5. Phenomenal job getting the picks they need to bring themselves a great advantage, but then they just kept feeding bodies to Geek the Freak.
Oh my gosh.
Inside of server, and he almost gets a 4th even if he hadn't tried to swing with the SMG-11. And you left one guy alone when you had 5 to deal with 2 players. That very nearly, if TrevMac was more aggressive in that 1v1, that would have been lights out, 7-2 for Lycus Empire on their opponent's map pick. And just those little mistakes that all line up like dominoes have been so prominent for F5 all throughout this game on both their attack and their defense. And it has been strange to watch. Because I know this team is better than this. I've casted one of their games during the group stage, or I guess I should say co-streamed it. And they know what they're doing. They know how to put themselves together and be coordinated. This is very atypical for them.
I will say, though, I mean, sure, he might have played it a little bit passively, but I thought TrevMac played that 1v1 pretty well, honestly. Relocating to a nice couple different spots, keeping Schmiffy guessing. Although I'm not sure what Scarping was doing there, as, I mean, Stealth just walks right in and gets a freebie, as Scarping was still doing setup work on the Malusi. So maybe this is the spark that F5 needed. That 1v1 might have woken them up, because it seems as though they're playing with a new level of confidence. Stealth continues to be aggressive here, and now they've got themselves another round with a man advantage to work with. Surely they don't throw it 3 in a row, right, Ali?
I hope not. Although I've seen crazier things. Though Z-Man's kind of going crazy right now. He's gotten a kill on TrevMac, or on Space, excuse me, which has freed up more man counts for his team to play with. And it's made the player inside of CCTV quite a bit more exposed than he would have been otherwise, which means that someone probably has to rotate to help him, which does leave some potential calamity for F5 to catch people within.
Here's the thing, though, Ali. I don't know if you noticed this, but look at the 3 operators that are still alive for Lycus Empire. You've got 2 M590s still on the board and an Echo. That could be disastrous for F5 Esports if they do not continue to put the pressure on. They did lose 1 body, but they are able to quickly trade it back and maybe get a second when they know Geek is in that corner, as Stealth does some damage. They aren't quite able to leverage that kill just yet, but Z-Man is able to come in and get what his first teammate could not, and that is the kill onto the mute. Now TrevMac left all alone, this time in a 1v4, a lot harder of a situation to find yourself in. He does still have the Echo, but he also has 4 players pressuring him from all different sides. He's eating damage slowly but surely. This seems like he might just be trapped. He's going to go ahead and jump through the hatch here, but now as the diffuser goes down, that's going to make things that much harder to try and negotiate this back. Diffuser will get confirmed, Impact Grenade will miss, and now down below, TrevMac has to just go hunting. And Ali, the hardest thing to do in Siege, arguably, is retake up a staircase. He will not even make it to the staircase as Smithy shuts him down, and F5 draw us a little bit closer.
See, that's what you need. You need to figure out where those defenders are, and then find out how you need to pressure them. Geek in that corner, he's demonstrably just stuck there, and they know that, and they pressure him from both sides. He is worried about both the player inside of 90 and the player swinging him from office, and so choosing which gunfight to take just becomes significantly more awkward. And while that was happening, they knew TrevMac was stuck inside of CCTV, and so they keep him there so he can't help his teammate. And it's that kind of play and coordination that F5 has been missing, especially in their late rounds these last few matches. Is when they had the 5v2, if they played it that well, that would not have been nearly that close. That would have been a shutout round from F5. And so it does look like now that they're on the attack, they're starting to figure things out a little bit more and starting to figure out how to coordinate themselves. But that needs to be continued for 2 rounds before we even get overtime. And when we hit overtime, Lycus will get to attack for at least 1 more round.
Attackers are moving to defuse bombs.
Well, what do you think, Ali? Do we think we make it to overtime? F5 have definitely seemed like they've woken up. I would not be surprised at this point. They're playing much more coordinated, much more confidently, and I love this new look. Stealth has been absolutely popping off for his team as well. Interestingly enough here, it doesn't look as though there's anybody currently on site. I mean, you've got a couple players in offices. I guess Scarping's on site, Geek, but like, other than that, that's about it. And that means Stealth is going to go right on in. I figured that was happening. Geek, the first one dead. The top frag for Lycus Empire, the first one off the board. Maybe a second one soon to follow. Z-Man had the idea, but the Toxic Babe will force him back. But they at least know that there is a player over here, so they can continue to work on isolating him. And with that kill that they got on Geek, they bought themselves so much extra time to work with.
Preventing Fender from controlling his dreadnoughts is also just pretty big, as now once they shoot whichever dreadnoughts are active, the others are just set decoration, effectively. And not to mention that opening kill is just extraordinarily important, especially with how this matchup has been going. Now, though, we need to see F5 work a little bit more of the site directly. They need to get TrevMac out of office. They need to work players outside of archives. And they need to start doing things to properly dislocate the defenders so they have all the control they need going into this final minute 15 seconds.
Like you said, just over a minute to work with here. Do they know about the player tucked in the side of Fountain here? Doesn't look as though they do. Scarping is able to find a trade back onto Smithy. Space picks up another one as well. And now Lycus Empire have a man advantage to work with. This might be the end here for F5. They're definitely not out of it. Oh, nice read there by Bubbler as he takes down TrevMac. That's a big kill. That's the smoke off the board. Huge bit of utility now gone for Lycus Empire. And with about 45 seconds left, F5 Esports definitely find themselves in a decent spot. They do some damage to Shrady as well. Do they know about the player that's still inside of security? Seems as though they do, and they're not going to take the fight with him. Space finds the kill. Space finds two. Third kill for Space. Make it a fourth. Space closes out Border 7-4, and Lycus Empire put themselves one map away from the BLITZ Riot Grand Final.
All right. Well done to Lycus, right? We see them lose that opening pick and that last round, but I think they kind of realized that F5 were catching on to the game and were better at punishing them for their aggression when it counted. And so in that last round, once they get that refrag and equalize things, they just sit on their hands. They sit in powerful positions, which they know that F5 need to clear, and then just don't let them clear it. And then F5 isn't prepared, I think, fully to clear those things, either without a crazy man advantage or without the Lycus players just swinging them. And so in the absence of that, they just don't get the job done when they need to, and it just allows Lycus to be very comfortable in those final seconds.
Well, we definitely saw why a lot of teams prefer to attack on border. And you and I were kind of discussing that before the map and before we came live on air here, as to why F5 Esports would be defending first on all three maps. And I think Lycus Empire actually made such a smart play going on attack first. They put themselves on the advantageous side. They did not give F5 the chance to warm up on what we talked about is a very attacker favored and frag heavy map. And it was that big first half that they had that really gave them the opportunity to close that out in such a fashion where they really were never uncomfortable. They were pretty much in control of that map for relatively the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, Border is pretty notoriously attacker-sided, I feel, and Lycus just proved that. They really very nearly could have had a 5-1 half had, I believe it was round like 4, gone their way. Which is, I mean, just the power of that map. It's small, it's compact, it doesn't have power positions that are as easily defended, and operators like Azami and Mira that enable those power positions were banned, and you still have things like the Blackbeard. It was just a deck that was very stacked in favor of the attack, and Lycus knew that going in, and they fully took advantage of it. And then even the things they couldn't have read into, like what F5 was going to ban, they took advantage of that then as well when they were in the situation.
Credit to both sides. I mean, Lycus Empire had a fantastic first map. F5 started to wake up there in the end, but Allie, We started on a map that's super frag heavy. It's time to pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to Nighthaven Labs, one of the most defender-sided maps in the game. F5, like we said, will start on defense. But first, we got to take a quick break and get everything ready to go. When we come back, we've got map number 2 of this BLITZ RIOT semifinal. Don't go anywhere. Well, let's not keep you waiting, shall we? We are ready to roll in map number 2 of this BLITZ RIOT semifinal between F5 Esports and Lycus Empire. If you're just joining us, I'm Nomical, joined by Alias, and map number 1 of Border was, as expected, a bit of a frag fest. That's a fun word to say. Anyways, Lycus Empire came out on top. It was the dominant performance of both TrevMac and Geek, particularly in the clutch. That was a huge reason why, but Ali, we've got to shift gears here a little bit. Nighthaven is a completely different style of map. Do we think that Lycus Empire are going to continue to get away with that, or is F5 going to be able to find their footing?
I mean, F5 can still be aggressive, and I'd argue they still should be, as you really want to set the pace as much as you can. But it has to come in a different way. Nighthaven's going to be a lot more fundamentals heavy than Border was, or I guess it'll still use fundamentals, but in a very different way. It's going to be a lot more methodical, a lot more checklist heavy, and it doesn't leave as many opportunities for the attack to just quickly get a foothold inside of the map and then just go. And so Lycus, when they work this map control, will need to be a lot more coordination and utility heavy than they would have been on Border.
Ying and Deimos. I guess we're keeping things exactly the same here. Saw those two bands on Border, see them here on Nighthaven as well. So, completely different style of map, same style of band. Although both once again, are completely understandable bans. They're both very strong. Nighthaven is a huge map and one that plays into bringing a Deimos for the roam clear, so it makes sense to ban that out. And then, why not? Azami, everybody knows the story behind Azami. Ali, I don't think I need to explain that one. There's so many great spots on Nighthaven Labs that you could put those Kiva barricades that you do not want to have to deal with, and you do not want to have to bring the utility to clear them with. Mira makes sense as well. Lots of powerful Mira spots. Interestingly enough, though, that means operators like Cade, like Valkyrie, are once again going to be on the board. And while we didn't see too much effect of those operators on border, I have a feeling that we are going to see a lot of them both here on Nighthaven. Although, not here, I guess. So, I'll eat my
Protect
words.
your bombs from being defused by attackers.
But it's a nice little snack with a few calories in it. A little bit of protein, even. That being said, however,
Very delicious.
we're going to see the combination of the Bandit and the Tubero, which is good, not necessarily for keeping walls closed throughout the whole round, because you can't just trick through a Tubero anymore, thank God. But it does delay things quite a bit, and it means that to get walls open, Lycus is going to have to take a very... they're going to have a very active presence on those walls and exert a significant amount of effort in order to open them,
5 seconds
which
to go.
just delays a bunch of time and soaks up some utility. And then if they don't know they have to do that, and they haven't planned for it or brought the right operators, then it's a whole thing, and you know how it goes. Alright, so it's my job to explain how it goes.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, just like I was saying, waste time,
here's-
waste utility.
Here's the important question that I'm going to ask you.
Yeah?
Can you explain where Trady went? That's what everybody really wants to know.
You know, like the Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show, where, like, the Bakugan that got beat by the evil Bakugan went to the evil dimension?
Swapping mags!
No.
Well,
Spotted a bomb!
that's okay. That's not the
Scanning
most
for
obtuse
electronics.
reference I could have made. Although he's back now. It's gonna be relegated
Yay.
to essentially being a camera operator, but he's back now. Gonna be doing some Five Nights at Freddy's gaming on his phone, watching those cams.
It's probably pretty scary when you see a bubbler on your screen.
I would imagine. And
Do you think he's Freddy or do you think he's Bonnie or Chica?
I'm gonna go with the Mangle.
I mean, I guess as Tubero, you can really mangle up some of the hard breaching plans.
That's my job. Anyways,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll get back to play-by-play yapping.
about a minute of the round has elapsed, or just over a minute and a half of the round has elapsed thus far, and we see, kind of like I predicted, trouble getting those external walls open, which means that Lycus have had to go for an alternate plan, where Space has gotten a kill, but it's been refragged by Z-Man, as they have to walk in through doorways, rather than through walls.
Yeah, that's the case down as well. A huge find there by Z-Man. Space as well on low HP. That's not an ideal situation for Lycus to find themselves in. You do still have Treadmech on the gridlock, so you can at least get a little bit of that health back, but that means they're going to have to play it a little bit slower for now, especially considering they are in the man disadvantage. Did you spot the head of Stealth? Bandit thought he was being stealthy there. He was not. Did not get away with that one. But down to a 2v2 now as these teams continue to trade back and forth. Space and Scarping now trapped at the top of water stairs. Z-Man has actually been down, so it's all left up to Smithy here in the 1v2. Is this teammate in a position to go for a potential revive? It looks as though he might be. They might be able to get the Fenrir back up and put this back into a 2v2, which would be a game-changing play, especially considering that there's only 30 seconds left. Here comes the walk-in from Scarping. You know Scarping's going to get aggressive here. What about the reposition? Scarping walks in. Scarping is able to find one. Smithy now on low HP, but he's not out of it just yet. But his Space to clean things up, and Lycus Empire, despite losing a player at the beginning to a disconnect, are able to claim round number 1.
They don't need Trady, and they don't need walls, I guess. Normally not being able to get those walls open is something analogous to a death sentence. But that round, I mean, they just had really clever positioning, I think is what it boils down to. They had the heads-up gunfighting ability, to just walk in and take the fights that were necessary, but then they're also able to position themselves in ways to take those gunfights and actually get into the building. We see the Finka walking in through garage as an example. We see the players who are able to walk in through water stairs and get those picks. And then once they have the picks, they occupy that space immediately and don't give F5 any room to breathe. And when you have to take gunfights on the attacker's terms, even if it is your own site, they have assault rifles and ACOGs, both of which are quite difficult to peek when they're already dunking on you in the fragging department.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
I promise I'm still here, Allie. Promise.
I believe you.
All right, or I could just lie and say that I disconnected because of the thunderstorms, which are still going on outside. I'm just looking over to my window and I just see lightning going by. But that's not relevant to the game, so we're going to continue to press on forward here. Good drone by Trevmac. Spots the fact that Bubbler's up here. Where's the awareness, Z-Man? Come on! You heard the Blackbeard jump through the window and you don't even look up. He just took it like a champ. Z-Man, the first one off the board, and the second one soon to follow. Scarping finds Schmiffy caught in the hallway. And, well, this attack is going splendidly if you're Lycus Empire. F5 scratching their heads as they've lost two massive early bodies, and Escape is now isolated on the top floor. They've lost Bubbler as well. This just could not be going much worse if you're F5. They finally do get it down onto Shrady, so the Maverick has been dealt with, but, well, if you see there, Geek is currently getting the plant down, and that's going to make things that much harder to try and salvage. Escape now left alone in a technical 1 versus 5 as he's walking his way back towards 90. There's a player in the window to his right that I do not believe he has any idea of. Did he? Nope, he did not. Scarping able to shut that one down, and it's a flawless round for Lycus Empire. Once again, 2 for 2 on their attacks.
So, once again, a skill that has been phenomenal for Lycus this entire game, both maps now, is they're able to recognize exactly where people are and where they can get in to punish them. And one thing I like as well on that play, actually we see it here, it wasn't just the Blackbeard going in. He goes in, then there's someone behind him to get that pick, so he doesn't have to just rely purely on his own gun skill. And then Scarping is holding an off angle on a position that he knows someone is probably going to rotate through when the Calamity starts inside of storage. And that gets you 2 uncontested picks before you've even really had to set foot in the building for the most part. And then from that point on, it's a matter of we know that the Vigil's going to be top floor and we don't have to worry about him right now. And once the Legion tried to get in and start taking fights, they knew where he was when he got that down. They just have to hold for him. And then the diffuser's going down. It's a 5 versus 2. And once again, we're having very bad times on the roam.
It's not the end of the world just yet here if you're F5 Esports. I think you need to pick up the next 4 rounds in a row if you're really going to have a good chance of pulling this map back. But Lycus Empire did start off map number 1 with 2 straight attacks to get things started. But then again, it's a completely different map here, a far more defender-sided map. So you'd really hope to pick up a few more through the first 2, especially considering they are the primary sites. Interestingly enough, we do have a Solus being brought out here by Stealth, currently roaming inside a cafeteria, and that looks to be the first target of Lycus Empire. They've spotted Stealth over here on this roam, but are they in a position to flush him out anytime soon? It looks as though they might be. They've got a couple players over by vending, they've got a player outside of kitchen, and it looks like this is going to be their first target. 4 players currently looking to flush him out. Geek eats some damage, crossing by unawares on the island, but now the game is up. They know where he is, and Geek quickly turns and dispatches of that first player. Lycus Empire quickly with an opening pick, but 2 answered right back for F5 as the MP7 comes to life, and so does the UMP. 2 big kills there, but maybe another one to follow soon, as it looks as though there's 2 more players down in the basement already. Another one about to swing it through Nano. That is the Blackbeard, a C4 right now to try and dispatch of him. It will dispatch of about half of his HP, but no more than that as the Blackbeard continues to press forward, eating damage from all sides here. Now he has support. This could be big. One of the supporting players is dead. Space finds a refrag on that quickly. But these two players are isolated inside of the site. That doesn't seem to be a problem, though, as they've quickly dispatched of yet another one. And now it's down to a 2v2. The UMP comes to life, and Smithy spots the head of another one, and now it's all left up to a low HP Blackbeard in a 1v2. He will not be able to do anything with that. And finally, F5 pick up their first round.
Yet again, we see a very aggressive, very early on in the round attack come out of Lycus Empire. And they do get that first pick. But then when it comes to actually getting into the site, they lose 2 bodies so damn quickly. And then lose another in the process of trying to get the refrag from that. That it gives comfortability to F5, but also a very good knowledge of exactly where those 2 attackers are. And then they were both on such low HP that UMP was effectively a full auto boss G with no recoil by that point in the round. And he hits headshots on both of them, I believe anyways, but just anything would have killed either of those 2 attackers, which makes Blackbeard a lot less scary when you know that you can hurl a bullet at his feet and he'll drop to the floor the same as if you hit him in the head.
Could this be the start of something beautiful for F5 Esports?
5 seconds remaining.
They've got themselves on the board. Seems as though, once again, it might have just taken them a second, but they're figuring things out.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
They're back on the top floor now. And a couple big changes that I'm really interested to see here. They've read into the fact that Lycus Empire like to attack from the top of water stairs, and they've set up much more utility this time on that side to try and slow that push down, including a shield, which, if you pair that with a shotgun, like I believe Escape is going to be playing over there, that could be an absolute force to reckon with, especially if multiple Lycus Empire players go over there without droning.
Looks like Shreddy wants to Maverick trick this wall, although they are wary of someone running out of electrical. And I think that is a good call with the woes they had for her breaching in on their previous attempt at this site, which we do see a C4 prepared in advance from Bubbler, but look at this, Trevmac
Located by attackers.
self-get the Blackbeard inside of the top of Rafters stairs, which does a ton of good for his team along with that opening kill.
Yeah, Shreddy as well has made his way inside of IT. Seems to be a great round here for Lycus Empire. Bubbler has found a trade back, taken down the Blackbeard. That's a big find. That's that shield presence that we've seen so many times throughout this series, now dealt with. And now that gives F5 Esports new life in this round. Spiffy as well playing a pretty forward position inside of E-Box. He knows that there's a player outside of electrical. Trev Mack has actually gotten on the board and takes down said E-Box player. So now man advantage once again for Lycus Empire to work with. They've also got themselves a good amount of control over by Garage. Seems to be a Rafters IT focused execute here. And they're in a pretty good spot to deal with it. There's nobody really over there to shut them down. Trevmac, however, does fall victim to a player down below as Stealth picks up his first kill of the map. And now a reposition has come in. 2 big kills by Bubbler. They had no idea that he was there. Takes the DMR, takes them both down, and now it's all left up to the Flores in a 1v3, isolated at the top of Raptors. All sorts of angles working against him here. Allie, this might be a disastrous spot to be in. I'm sure that he will not be much longer for this world, especially considering that there is now at least multiple 2 players in the same spot that are aware of his position.
He's got 30 seconds left to play with here, which isn't really a ton of time considering the position that he is in. Especially when, like you said, they all know where he is and they're trained on his position.
Look at that.
15 seconds remaining.
That's funny to me. There's a guy with a shotgun watching one angle, a guy with an MP7 watching another. The shotgun dies, but I do not believe much more harm will come than that, as with only 4 seconds left and a Banshee, the diffuser miles away, and a player outside, Space just has to run around. He'll save the KD. F5 Esports pick up 2 in a row, and we've got a tie game here. This seems like it might be an entirely new series.
It is quite paradoxical that it felt like Lycus Empire were less tunnel visions when they had less options in the round. As previously on that side, they just couldn't get the walls open whatsoever, and they do win it off of some clever positioning and gunplay. But then this round, they have the opening pick and they have the walls open, but with more options at their disposal because of the successful hard breach. It just felt like they didn't use it as effectively, like they didn't position themselves quite as cleverly, which allowed F5 to get kill after kill after kill, because Lycus weren't ever able to actually get really physically inside of the building, which is one of the most important steps to properly mount your attack, as that is oftentimes one of the most dangerous steps, is just getting your feet planted on the floor.
Wait, you're telling me that in order to win an attack, you have to enter the building? Nah.
Despite what the people in my standard games would have you believe.
Nah, there's no way. Stop lying to the public. Don't lie to the viewers.
What Lundgren coming?
You're teaching people how to incorrectly play Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Clearing the way. Activating
I saved the good analysis for Crucible.
I mean, Zay is in the Twitch chat, so...
Bomb located by attackers.
Zay, can you tell Allie to be nice to me?
Isaiah. Oh, this could be something.
Oh!
Oh!
Escape down! 0 and 4.
You know what that makes, Nomical? 5 opening
Wallbang?
kills in a row for Lycus Empire.
I did not know that. Very interesting. Math.
I love math. Never do it on broadcast.
Oh, yeah. Doing math on a broadcast, I usually forget how to do math, so I don't even try. Stealth here, looking for a jump out. Has the idea that there are still multiple players outside, but it doesn't look as though any of them are actually in a position where they could fall victim to the jump out when it does come. Or if it does come, I guess, because Stealth is still not really in a spot to go for it. Ooh. Bubbler saw the bullet tracers go right over his head there and will be thanking his lucky stars that he is not dead. Now he's been droned out, though, so he will have to fall back here, but he at least was putting pressure on for a little bit of time. Z-Man is repositioned upstairs, so he could continue to apply pressure up above, and will continue to keep Bubbler safe down below and keep any potential vertical destruction from happening. I am curious, however, as to what Lycus' plan is, because despite the fact that they got the opening kill really early on, they've spent about a minute and a half not really taking any map control. As far as I can tell, everybody besides Space is still currently outside or on the very edges of the map. Now, Scarping does actually have himself a nice position, and he's actually got the coverage of Shrady, but 2 big kills. Once again, the MP7 coming to life for F5. Just when it seemed like Lycus Empire might storm through this round, all of their momentum has suddenly been halted, and now it's all up to Space to make something happen.
He does have a solid position inside of Games Hall, and he does take advantage of that for at least 1 kill. But he's wary of these flanks. There are multiple positions that he has to watch that some could potentially come from before this execute goes down.
Nice kill there by Z-Man, equalizing us back down into a 2v2. Bubbler as well, still playing inside of Storage, is able to dispatch Trevmac, and now it's all left up to Geek, and this round seems like it might have fallen by the wayside. Lycus Empire had themselves a great opportunity, but they let it slip through their fingers. F5 Esports, 3 rounds in a row, and now for the first time this series, they maintain the lead.
Now, I understand why Lycus took so long, or wanted to take so long in that round, as you kind of... I've said it a couple times, this is a very methodical map, you want to cross your T's and dot your I's, but they did it in a way that lets F5 get comfortable and kind of telegraph what they were doing, almost. And then when they tried to get in as well, they were in just solo enough positions that players on F5 were able to retaliate and get great kills back on to them and equalize, and not even flip the man count at one point. Which then leaves you in a very awkward situation, scrambling to get things done, because there's like 30 seconds left, there's a guy on the site that you can't get rid of, and then you know you have to watch for flanks. Just ends up being kind of too spread out and too long, almost, for Lycus Empire.
5 seconds remaining.
Now we're starting to see why Nighthaven is such a defender playground, because even if you are in the disadvantage, you're still in a good position most of the time. It's set up very well for defenders to be able to come back and keep themselves in maps and in series. I mean, I was going to mention this at one point, but we literally saw a world championship won because of Nighthaven defense. Last year, FaZe was up 6-1. And then W7M stormed back on the defensive side to win it. So that doesn't tell you all you need to know. I don't know what will. Now, admittedly, that was a while ago, and the meta has shifted a little bit, but still the same basic concept still applies. About 30 seconds into round number 6, the final opportunity for F5 to pick up a defensive round here, and what would be a nice turnaround, despite how the first two went. I am curious to see what the plan is here, because once again, we've got a very heavy roam presence, and I don't know if you remember this, but last time F5 tried to roam this much on this site, it really didn't go so well.
The opening kill has effectively been given to Lycus Empire now, as we see the Blackbeard make a very early entry towards cargo. Though it doesn't look like he's found super active resistance just yet, but the Thatcher somewhere near the site, they're actually all on the site effectively, but they're all getting downed.
Oh, they were all down, maybe, but Trev Mack is still alive. He's still got a gun in his hand, and he's still got 2 kills to find. Looking for more than that, even. Oh no, the C4. That's a huge miss. Escape still searching for his first kill of the map, and it will have to continue to wait a little bit longer. Trev Mack picks up his third, looking for another one. 2 big kills for Smithy. This seemed like an impossible task, but maybe not. 30 seconds to go on this defuse timer. He knows that Shrady is stuck behind this generator. Does he know where Trev Mack has relocated to? He could drop here and get away with it. This could be a big find. Super shorty in hand. Shrady pops up. He's unable to find more than that. He did find 2 nice kills, but Lycus Empire tie up the half, and we end things dead even, 3-3.
It is interesting to me that we see at least semi kind of repeat of the first attempt at attacking that site for Lycus Empire, but this round that's just a lot more successful, I think, because, partially because of the disconnect, but also because when they did it, they had the backstab from Trebmack, because we saw that everyone from F5 was focused on that Animus room because that's where the known threats were. And then Trebmack just walks through the kind of cargo area and gets 2 phenomenal picks onto the site, because they're not looking at him, and he just quickly takes advantage of that. It's very reminiscent of round 1 of Border, actually, in that sense. In the sense of everyone creating chaos on one side of the map, and then Trebmack just kind of lurking in through another side of the map to take advantage of that, kind of cash that check.
Yeah, remember, Trev Mack isn't even a usual member of this team, so that shows a great amount of trust in him as a player to let him continue to do that. And I think that shows a great amount of chemistry between these players, and really just speaks to their overall mental game awareness. I really like what I'm seeing so far from Lycus Empire. But I do have a question for you, Ali.
Yeah.
True or false? Lycus Empire got every opening kill that half.
I think they did.
It is indeed true. Very interesting stat line to look at there. F5, despite the fact that they continuously found themselves in a man disadvantage, were able to continue to fight back and salvage at least a 3-3 half. So, despite the fact that obviously, they're not in a fantastic spot, being 3-3 heading into the attacking side, again, you never know what's going to happen. This game still has a lot to unfold, and if they can continue to salvage rounds like that, fighting from the back foot, I'm really interested to see if they could continue to do that, or maybe flip the script in the second half and put pressure on Lycus Empire by picking up some opening kills of their own.
Yeah, I mean, the opening kills are a stat line that gets harped on a lot in Rainbow Six for a very good reason. As it just gives you so much room to maneuver in any round, especially if you're on the attack. It just frees up so much that you can use. But it's also worth noting that a lot of these opening kills have been completely uncontested by F5. We've seen a lot of moments where Lycus will get like 2 picks in a row, and then no one from F5 is there to bring it back. And that is the more important thing about those opening kills to me, because when F5 have been able to immediately get that refrag back, those have been the rounds they've been the most successful in. It's when Lycus is able to chain kills together, when they're able to snowball things, that they've been very effective.
Well, we're still just waiting here. I believe we're actually about to get back into the game. It seems as though the players' tech issues have been solved, so we appreciate your patience there. Obviously, we do not enjoy having to, sit through tech pauses, but sometimes things don't go the way you wanted to. That's just kind of the story of life. But we are back. The sign of the replays tells us that we are ready to get back underway with the second half of Nighthaven Labs. Obviously, F5 are swapping to the attack here, and this is it for them. If they cannot pick up this half, they are done in BLITZ RIOT. This is do or die for them. And another thing that I'm interested to look at here in this second half, obviously we've talked about the fact that there's a lot still to unfold, but I'm really curious to see what happens to F5 when the pressure starts to mount, because as rounds start to slip by, their chances of moving on just start to dwindle that much more.
There's the saying, the pressure makes diamonds.
10 seconds left.
It also makes really flat people, depending on the situation.
It also could cause an orange to explode.
Also, really,
Think about that.
honestly, pressure could do a lot of things. I'm not a physicist, though, so I will not comment on that any further. Please direct all comments to my layer at Hightech Chat on Twitter if you'd like to know more about physics. Although bringing ourselves kind of back into the dimension of this game, now we see that there's... I wanted to highlight the breach denial on Lycus Empire, because they're leaning into both the Cade and the Bandit, along with that Goyo, which to me just says, keep them out of the building for as long as you can, and just make them uncomfortable.
Nice opening kill there by Space. Takes down Smithy. Escape lurking down below. Does he know the Goyo's here? It seems as though he has some idea. He's got the good read, and he does get the kill. Space taken down, quickly traded back. One of the top fraggers currently for Lycus Empire dealt with. But Escape doesn't know about the second player down there. That could be a big miss. Geek still lurks down in in storage with a C4 as well. That could be big heading into the late round.
Especially if they don't know that he is there. Another trade goes out, but it's dead even this time, putting us yet again in man equality. Although Stealth getting killed off, that is extraordinarily dangerous, as he has a ton of displacement utility with those bees that's just kind of going to be missed now.
Well, now they know that TrevMac is here. Both players from Lycus Empire are currently watching over towards Connector, but Bubbler's just running on in. Oh, just barely misses Geek as he tried to run back to site. That is siege timing at its finest, and now the Goyo Vulcans will start to detonate, and that will start to delay plenty of time for Lycus Empire. These final two members can just sit back and wait, as F5 will have to go for a relocation here. Looks as though they're going to shift their focus over towards the IT side, but there's still a lot of utility over there that they will have to worry about. A couple more Vulcan canisters going to be detonated. Here comes the walk-in, as it looks as though Z-Man is going to take from rafters, and it looks as though Bubbler is going to be in charge of taking in through IT. Actually, swap it. They're going to switch positions, but they're both going to try and leverage this control. All the Vulcans have now been dealt with, so in a couple seconds, they're both going to be able to walk into the building here. Do they know where these final two members of Lycus Empire are? It doesn't seem as though they do, But Lycus Empire definitely knows where they are, especially as the goo mines will start to go off. There's a player deep inside a pillar, and there's also one close inside an E-box. This time is running low, my friends. You need to go. Geek catches Bubbler on the cross. That's a huge find, and the fuser down as well. And with just about 10 seconds, Z-Man has to go big and clutch. With only 4 bullets left, he's not going to have time. He has to reload, and he doesn't even get a chance to do that. TrevMac will claim his final kill, and Lycus Empire claim the lead back.
They kept it close throughout that entire round. I talked about previously the rounds that Lycus Empire did very well on their attacks were rounds where they were able to get 2 or 3 picks all in a row without the defense properly contesting them. And so they get that opening pick, and then they lose one, but they keep it close that entire time. F5 were never able to get a pick to get themselves ahead. They were only able to get picks to catch up. And the operators they were losing as well just put more pressure on those that were alive to complete the tasks with increasing complexity, which just snowballs into this effect where it's a 2 versus 2. You don't really have a utility besides some smokes and the gun in your hands, and with the amount of time that was left, that doesn't really stack up that well against the positioning that the defense has, especially when I believe it was Schmiffy. No, it's Bubbler failed to get in and get the plant down.
Yeah, that kill that Geek found onto Bubbler was huge, because if he had been able to cross there, they could have held a perfect cross. I mean, you had a player inside of IT, they would have gotten that plant down for sure. And that could have potentially been a huge flip in how that round would have gone. We cannot dwell on the past. We must continue to look forward. F5 Esports cannot let that result get in their head. They have to continue to be aggressive and press the issue here. Boss G in hand for TrevMac. Spots one player. I believe that was Z-Man working his way in first. They'll continue to force TrevMac back further and further into the depths of the building, all the way back to the top of Waterside. There's 3 players up here currently hunting this Vigil. They have not been able to fully flush him out just yet. He's made his way back down to the first floor and is going to continue to work his way back down to the basement. So technically mission accomplished. You would have much rather gotten the kill and gotten yourself a man advantage to work with, but you will definitely take getting that first floor, looks like first 2 floor control actually. The only player still left up above is TrevMac. So you will definitely swap about 1 minute and 15 seconds for almost full control of these 2 floors.
There's not really a ton of vertical play potential for the attack, however. I mean, Jackal has a secondary shoddy, Ash has breach charges, but neither of those are particularly efficient when it comes to being your only or primary soft destruction. And they burned 2 of the Jackal scans as well, which means those aren't available for the execute. So they do have a lot of space to work with, and they do have a solid amount of time to work with, but they still have to execute into a 5 versus 5 with the smoke up and with the Vulcan canisters up, and they're even having trouble breaching the hatches, which just really adds salt to the wound.
Clearing the way.
I'm currently watching a 15-minute long Latrell Spencer compilation, so I have no idea what's going on in the game right now. Oh, we're back. Okay. I can see the screen again. Geek with a quick trade on to escape with just about 40 seconds to go in the round. And, well, despite that, Geek is still on low HP. Bubbler just flashed himself. Quite a interesting sequence of events going on, but they will trade out TrevMac. Scarbig swings 2 big kills, traded right back, thankfully, but now it's a 1v1 for Stealth and Geek. Smoke on low HP. Do they know where he is? Certainly not after the reposition comes in. This is so smart by Geek, going for the swing all the way around, especially as he has to go for the diffuser. Geek reads him perfectly. Stealth taken down, and Lycus Empire pick up their 5th.
And that's exactly why I highlighted the 5 versus 5 execute. If you can't get your foot in the door as the attack in the kill department, things are exponentially more difficult. And Lycus plays into that. They're still aggressive in the sense of wasting time and utility, but they all play back into the site, so throughout that entire round, either things are inequality or F5 are playing catch up, which just isn't a position you can afford to be in when you're the one going for that execute. And the reposition from Geek to Freak in the end as well is just icing on that cake. As we see that Lycus, they're still playing aggressive, like I said, but they know how to work the vast space that Night Haven Labs brings into that aggression so they can still remain effective.
Attackers have located a bomb. 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds left.
The Latrell Spencer compilation is back on my screen.
Our producer is trolling us.
Yeah. And I still hear the audio. I don't even know anymore.
No, I
man.
haven't.
You,
I don't even know what this is from.
You know how you mentioned earlier to speak to your lawyer on Twitter? Make sure when you go ask his lawyer questions, you use the hashtag #BlameChad.
Absolutely.
We're about 30 seconds in here, and I assume you still can't see it because I have the audio playing in my ears.
I can see it now. I can see it now.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we can both see the game again. This is progress. This is progress. Yeah, we're about 30 seconds in, and F5 are, you know, making pretty good time once again, considering they are attacking onto storage. They haven't quite opened up the IT wall just yet, but they have an idea about the fact that there are players up here. They know about Space's position. They definitely don't, because Stealth could have had an easy wall bang just now if he had been so inclined. Spots the head of the Space. Does a lot of damage, but cannot quite negotiate the kill. The M4 just a little bit too overbearing there in that situation. Trevmac will continue to wait around here with the Vector. He'll fall back through the hatch as the wall gets opened up in front of him. F5 Esports a little over a minute in here, despite not having that open to kill just yet. Once again, have good map control. But good map control only means so much. You do actually have to find some kills at some point. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see the same results of rounds past.
The MO for the defense of Lycus has been very interesting. Although it is broken with those two kills. Stealth and Bubbler getting the openers. Scarping, however, going to go up and get a refrag on flank, although he has to sit his back to an open wall that Bubbler can just look through, which leaves Space and Geek alone with really not much more than one player's worth of health between them.
Oh no. Oh no. That's so unfortunate. Space with an easy one tap onto Stealth. Free pick given back for Lycus Empire. Maybe a second one is Geek once again having a monster series, is on the flank and finds himself yet another kill. Maybe another one. Space picks up another, and Geek up above with the M590 is able to shut down another one, and it is match point and series point for Lycus Empire. And boy, oh boy, is that going to be yet another round that F5 are going to be scratching their heads about.
I mean, dude, I'm scratching my head. It's like the return of Border again. They got a very good early lead there, and especially with Space was... You could have thrown a flash at Space, and if a direct impacted his body, he would have fallen into the ground. But they're just, again, they're not careful in that late round. They're not aware of their positioning or their opponent's positioning. I mean, why is the Ace sprinting so far? I mean, I know why the Ace is sprinting so far into the site, but you can't sprint in the site like that because that's where Trevmac, or because that's where Space is. And it's again just these mistakes they make in the late round that just all happen all in a row. That's like a very, very unfortunate set of dominoes, which has now put Lycus Empire on map and match points on defense on their own pick.
Lycus Empire one round away from the grand final matchup between, with Team Brick in the Blitz Riot grand final. We are almost at a point where it will become a reality. They just need to have one more successful defense on Night Haven Labs, and surely in 3 attempts they'll be able to pick up one round. I mean, it's Night Haven Labs, like we talked about. Very defender-sided. I would imagine that things are boding very well for Lycus Empire here. Got a bandit trick coming out. And I'm not sure if it was successful or not. I have, once again, the Latrell video in my ear. It does look as though he got some, and he gets a kill for good measure. Quickly traded back by
That's the
Butler, but that is a
Blackbeard.
lot of damage done.
So you've traded a bandit for a Blackbeard, which is honestly a trade that I'm not upset about. There is the potential for another pick for the attack down below here if Geek doesn't play his cards right, although that's going to go out the window now that he knows that camera's there. And he's just going to get back to the site, and that wall does get opened up, but it wasted a lot of time. He's got a kill off it, although the defense currently, worse for wear with that pick on the Shrady, is now Geek has to aggress over towards Meeting Hallway to try to get something back.
Just about half the round to go. F5 Esports fighting with a man advantage here for what seems like the 8 millionth time. We'll go with 8 million. But despite that, they have had very little success in translating it into round wins. Nice spot there with the Ash breaching round to take out an Evil Eye. F5 continuing to press forward here. Just about a minute to go. They are soon to be greeted by the M590 of the shotgun of Geek. That's a very scary sight to go up against, especially considering how good of a series that Geek has been having. They need to dispatch of him very soon, otherwise this attack might as well just be flushed down the drain with how well he's been playing. Especially considering the position he's in and how close he is to the front line of their attack. Good find there by Escape. They are able to shut Geek down, and now a 4v2 to work with. This seems like it might just be their first attack, and the start of the 3 in a row that they absolutely have to have. The jump in is not punished. Smithy is actually able to get in, get the kill, and now is in a position where he can get the plant down. But they've got intel from down below. You have to stop this now, and he does! Trevmac finds the first of 4 that he needs. The diffuser's been picked back up by his teammate, and Escape has spotted Trevmac down below. They are just trying to keep him at bay, trying to flush him out, and they've done so perfectly. The diffuser has now gone down. Trevmac has a lot of work yet to do with 30 seconds. Not even that, considering the diffuser time that he has to work with as well. You know exactly where he is. LMG gonna do him some huge favors here. He's able to find one, but that will be all, as Bubbler is able to shut him down and keep F5 in this series for just another round longer.
They let the pigs fall into the hands of F5, and I've talked about snowballs a lot, which is odd because it's April in Florida, but they let the attack get into that round in a very big way. They did kill the Blackbeard, which was a very good pick, but then the picks that went back in the other direction, and especially when Geek the Freak got overzealous inside of Electrical, gave the attack opportunities to get more and more and more and more picks, which just puts pressure on the remaining pieces of that defense to also be very aggressive to get picks back. And I can't think because I have the movie that I don't know on my screen again. Thank you very much, Chad. But oh my god. Just getting picks in all in a row like that gives the defense an in-back, gives the attack an in, and forces the defense to get aggressive and also die.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Thought we were getting a Rios there for a second, but it seems as though Lycus Empire are content to continue playing. F5 will start this round off with already a 5v4 man advantage to work with. That's going to be very important for them, considering that last round was the very first round. No, sorry, 2 rounds in a row. They've finally picked up their first 2 opening kills, which, like we talked about, was a very, very, very interesting streak that they were working against with Lycus Empire through the first 8 rounds picking up the opening kill. And it seems as though fortune might be turning for them. They might start to actually have some success, considering the fact that they are now giving themselves more advantageous spots to work with.
And there he comes back. The attack does effectively have an opening kill here. which, again, gives them quite a bit of room to play with. Although the defense looks like it is going back to playing a lot more reserved than it was previously, with the exception of Shrady down below, who I think mostly is there just kind of for a play with an impact, rather than trying to get aggressive with this gun, as the rest of the attack wants to try to get in here, take some control, and then launch that onto the site.
Yeah, they're going pretty quick here, our F5. They're already into E-Box. There's multiple players in that spot, potentially looking for the swing here. Scarping is in a great spot to stop this, however. He's got Toxic Babes at his disposal as well, and he's going to start to burn through those. He's used the first one on that E-Box door. Does Stealth know that there's a player down below here? It doesn't look as though he does, and he definitely does not, as Shrady is able to find his first of the round. Takes down Stealth, and that's a big find, considering that's one of the primary hard breachers now off the board. At least the good news is that most of his job had already been done, so they won't have to worry about that too much, but now they're going to have to start to worry, as they do end up losing another body. Geek trades back on an Escape, and now it's man advantage to work with for Lycus Empire. With less than a minute to go, this could be the final 40 seconds or so of F5's time in Blitz Riot, unless they could pull something back here. Multiple long-range engagements that are going to have to come out. If he's going to swing forward first. Has an idea that there's a player here, but he's not ready for the swing by Geek, and now it's all left up to the Jackal in a 1v3 whose hopes and dreams are literally being blown away, but maybe not just yet. Despite the fact that Z-Man was on 1 HP, he finds 2 monstrous frags, and now it's all left up to Shrady. With 10 seconds to go, Z-Man is going to have to attempt this plant or get aggressive. It looks as though he's going to choose the aggression, but he might have waited too long, as now on 0 seconds left, he's going to have to commit to this plant. Is he going to be able to pop up in time? He is, but Shrady has the intel, and Shrady has the diffuser, and Lycus Empire have booked their ticket to the Blitz Riot Grand Final.
I really like the way that Lycus Empire played that, considering the circumstances. They had the disconnect from space, although he does come back to play cameras. But they send Shrady down below to just lurk around, not play overly aggressive, not overplay his hand, but just exist in that space. Because they knew either he could get a C4, or that someone was going to rotate through that area. And
what is this?
Lo and behold, someone rotates through that area, and he gets that kill, and then he stays below for the C4, which puts Z-Man on 1 health. But the rest of the defenders just stayed back and held their positions, so when anyone from F5 tried to get into the site with the dwindling time, there was a wall of players they had to get through that really isn't just something you're practically going to win unless someone can pull a bolo just out of nowhere.
Let's be honest here, Ali. This was quite an interesting series. I genuinely think that it was a very entertaining one to watch, but it was also quite confusing at times. There was a lot of interesting randomness that sometimes would come out from both teams, particularly F5, I think, have some work to be done. They made it to the semifinals, but obviously Lycus Empire proved that they are by far and away the better team in this situation. Congratulations to them. They will verse Team Brick in the grand finals of Blitz Riot Season 1. Ali, you will be back for that game, and I believe Infernosis will be joining you for that. We'll see you on Sunday for the grand final of Blitz Riot Season 1 between Lycus Empire and Team Brick. I'm Nomical, and on behalf of our entire broadcast team working very hard tonight, and also doing a little bit of trolling, I might add, but it's all right. We have fun here. We wish you a very good evening, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
me out of love, yeah. Call me when you want. Shine on my door, yeah. Nowhere left to go. I just need to stay alone, yeah. Need to stay alone. I've been on my own, yeah. I've been on my own. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up whenever you. Get me out of love, yeah. Call me when you want. Shine on my door, yeah. Nowhere left to go. I just need to stay alone, yeah. Need to stay alone. I've been on my own, yeah. I've been on my own. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up whenever you're gone. I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up whenever you're gone. I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. I don't know, you got me out of control. I need to let it go, yeah, let it go, yeah, let it go. Tell me how to love, now you got my heart on lockdown. I just wanna feel your body. My heart is a ghost town. I don't need no love now, that's cause I don't need nobody. I know, you know, I changed a lot. The sunshine on my eyes. It's been so goddamn cold tonight. You better call me up whenever you're gone. I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah, I need you. You better call me up whenever you're gone. I can change a lot. I don't need the shots if you're so alive, but I need you now, yeah.